Yay!
Yay!
What was that?
That was a surprise yay. I'm going to bring out a new one every week.
293 episodes, and you wait until now to bring out the yay.
Last week was my yay.
I want a different one every week. I love this. I love this
I'm
one.
working on it.
This is a new bit for
Let's
another
be,
100 episodes.
In the living room at night, just practicing.
Yay.
Yay.
Yay. What is up, everyone? Welcome to Ginger Runner Live, episode number 293. We are very excited about tonight's episode because we get to bring in a new guest, someone who has never been on the show before, but she is taking trail running world by storm right now. The last few years, it's been really fun to sort of follow her journey through road and trail running, and primarily in trail running. She's been dominating pretty much every race that she's entered, which is really cool to see. Young, super fast, and making waves, and it's really cool. Grayson Murphy is going to be joining us on the show tonight. We're very excited to have her. We're going to talk to her about winning the Mountain World Championships in Argentina, the Xterra World Trail Championships in Hawaii, which, let's be honest, looked incredible. And also, she's been really open with dealing with anxiety and how she's overcome that and used running. And those are conversations that we love to have on the show, obviously. So tonight's going to be a really great show with Grayson Murphy. Very excited. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. Ginger Runner Live begins now.
Ginger Runner.
Yay! There's perfect unified yay. Love it. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Ginger Runner Live, episode number 293. I'm just waking up.
We've been nailing this.
The pre-show was way better than this so far, so I apologize to our viewers and listeners for just nailing it here on Monday. Thank you for taking time out of your busy Monday to spend a little bit of it with us. Maybe it's just getting back to the 6 p.m. time slot. Last week we had John Kelly on, and we did a special 1 p.m. show. Yep.
Which
was pretty great.
It encouraged day drinking for sure.
There wasn't a problem with it until dinner time when both Kim and I kind of went,
is it nap time?
How many drinks have we had? And it's not even 5. Regardless, tonight's show, we're very excited. Thank you for joining us tonight. We have a wonderful guest on. First time for her being on the show. Grayson Murphy is going to be joining us here in just a couple of minutes. She won the Mountain World Championships in Argentina in late 2019, followed by the Xterra World Trail Championships in Hawaii. Just making waves in the trail scene, and it's pretty awesome to see it. We're going to talk to her a lot about that and her collegiate career, her pro career, where she's going from here, what running means to her and her life. But one of the main reasons why I wanted to bring her on the show tonight was because she's been very open with her dealings with anxiety and mental health. And as someone who has been very open about that on the show and in different films in the past, I am gravitating towards people who are also dealing with it in a public setting and are very open about it. So Grayson's going to talk to us a little bit about how that's been affecting her life and how she's making strides to better mental health and sharing it and how it has potentially helped other people. I think that's one thing that I've really learned is that it's not only helped me when I've talked openly about my struggles with it, but the number of messages you get from people who are also dealing with it that thought they couldn't talk about it and realize it's actually okay to talk about. It's going to be one of the main themes of tonight's show. Before we introduce our wonderful guest tonight, it's not just myself, but I'm also joined by the incredible, the amazing
Gus?
Our dog. Wonderful wife, Kim. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Good.
What's up, guys? Kim Tajima Newberry here, as always. If you're new to the show, welcome. We are live. We'll be bringing Grayson on in just a second here. But because we are live, we have the chat room going. There's a lot of you guys in there chatting already. But if you have questions for Grayson, please pop them into the chat room. I've been pulling them throughout the hour.
Yep. It's always great to be able to interact with our guests like in real time.
I feel like I have I literally just came from filming a video into here like within 2 minutes, and I feel like I have my what's that like
the personality on the on-camera thing going. Just
I was like, what is
that's
that?
Our guest. I don't know if the audience can hear, but we can hear. We can already like talk to our guest in the background. And I think I heard either a lawnmower, an airplane, or maybe a video in the background. She's laughing because she knows. She's like, oh yeah. Sorry, that distracted. It was hilarious in our minds. I don't know if you guys can hear that.
But yes, ask questions.
Mm.
We'll be pulling them throughout the hour.
Mhm.
We love following the chit chat in there. There's people saying they crushed races this weekend listening to your music.
Oh, that's cool. That's really
Yeah.
cool. Before we get into our show with our wonderful guest, of course, we have some individuals that we like to thank at the top of the show as well. Our Patreon crew. They are the people who support us week after week, month after month, and allow us to do this live show every single Monday for the last. We didn't look this up. I want this to be.
I just looked it up.
And
next Monday,
February
10th.
Damn. Next Monday will be our 6-year anniversary.
Yes.
Of Ginger Runner Live.
Correct.
We are at episode 293. The math doesn't work out because sometimes we take a break around Christmas, but next week will be our 6-year anniversary show, which is pretty amazing. I don't know what we're going to do because obviously I just found out today, right now, the second, that next week is
I think
6
you wore a
years.
tuxedo for episode number like 100 or something.
Wow,
and we
setting
had
the bar high.
Dora the Explorer balloons, so maybe we'll have to go big.
Regardless, it is because of our Patreon crew that we are able to do this for 6 years. All of our reviews, all of our films, everything that we do running related on this channel and beyond is because of them. Two individuals in particular at that top tier. Brian Sands, who's been a longtime supporter, a wonderful human being. In his running journey, has lost over 100 pounds. He ran his first marathon, first 50K. He's currently training for a bunch of races this year. He'll be out in Seattle to help out at Tiger Claw coming in May. Very excited to have Brian on board. Also, shout out to Chris Lee, who is at that top tier. He has an organization called Trailblazer. They're out of Hong Kong. So if you ever find yourself in the Hong Kong region and are looking for trails to explore or a brick and mortar to visit to get shoes or gear or just look at trail maps, Chris and Trailblazer are the place and person to go to if you find yourself in the Hong Kong region. He's been a longtime supporter and was just chatting with him online today about stuff not even related to running. Just a really, really kind dude. And finally, we don't take sponsorships unless it's beer related. And we're so excited to have Sufferfest beer on board. They came to us for the new year. They're like, new year, new beer. How about a new sponsor? And we're like, we like you.
Yes.
We've run with them.
Yes.
Back when the company was in its infancy, we've done tons of runs with them. The people, not just the cans of beer, but they're just good people, athletes, ultra runners. And
if you ran Tiger Claw last year, you may have met Michael from Sufferfest.
Shout out to Michael.
He was amazing at a race last year. It was awesome to have.
He'll be back this year.
There. He'll be back this year.
We're very excited. So,
which one do you have today?
I'm drinking the Head Start, which is the stout brewed with coconut water and coffee.
I got the FKT.
Also one of my favorites. They're bringing the new IPA. I can't wait for that.
It's so good.
It is so good. Without further ado, I'd like to present our wonderful guest. It seems so official. I'd like to introduce our wonderful guest tonight, coming to us from Salt Lake City, Utah. Without further ado, Grayson Murphy.
Yay!
Hello.
How are you?
Thanks for having me. Good. I'm so excited.
I apologize about the long intro. I realize that Kim and I love to just talk to each other. And meanwhile, I'm like, oh, yeah, Grayson, I'm hearing her. We need to introduce her.
Hello.
How have you been?
I've been good. We got about 15 inches of snow today. So
I saw on your Instagram, like,
yeah. So it's
what,
been a snow day.
Have you guys had a snow pack, like a base snow pack, or did it go from nothing to 15 inches?
No, in the valley, it melts pretty frequently. I don't know what they're up. They're up to like probably 6 feet in the resorts in the mountains. Jeez. But in the valley, yesterday there's no snow on the ground, and then today there's 15 inches. So
that's so crazy.
Quite the variation.
Meanwhile, in Seattle, we're like,
I was like, it's grappling outside. It's grappling.
Kim got freaking excited today for the grapple. I was like, grapple?
I was like, the stuff that kind of looks like hail.
It's like rain mixed with hard pellets of snow.
It's basically snow pellets, and I think we got 5 of them.
We're trying so hard to be like Salt Lake City.
That's a good new word for me. I haven't ever heard
grapple
that before. Yeah.
You probably will never have to use it if you're getting 15 inches in Salt Lake City. So Grayson, let's go back a little bit because I kind of want to get our audience kind of familiar with who you are and running in general for you. Were you a collegiate athlete? Were you really into cross country, track, that sort of thing in college?
Yeah, so I was a collegiate athlete for 5 years. I played soccer for 1 year, and then I ran for 4. and I did all three, so cross country, indoor, and outdoor track. And I think by the end I'd grown to like cross country more, for whatever reason. Track was always a little bit too black and white for me, so I didn't appreciate that as much. Yeah, so by the end I think I was kind of leaning towards longer and courses as opposed to like laps around the track.
Right.
Yeah.
We've had guests on the show before who have been really good soccer players, but have used cross country or track as sort of off season or different season training for soccer.
Mm-hmm.
Was that what you did, or was cross country and track sort of your draw and soccer was just fun?
So I actually grew up playing soccer until I was 19. That was my first year of college, and I didn't run at all until I switched schools. And then I decided, you know what, soccer, I'm just kind of burnt out of it. I've spent the last 12 years playing and I'm just done. But I wanted to be on a team, and I was like, what can I feasibly walk on to in a college setting, like with no prior experience? So I was like, oh, I think maybe I could run. I don't know, like I ran in soccer, so it might work out. And the coach was nice, so he let me on the team, and then kind of just the rest is history.
I think what I'm really curious about too is, especially when talking to collegiate athletes that we've had on the show, the transition from a college career where you're running for a school,
Right.
you know, your results help that school's results, and there's that sort of atmosphere, and transitioning into the pro realm where you're running for yourself, or in your case, you were running for a team as well outside of college.
Yeah.
But what is that transition like? Is it difficult? Is it stressful?
Yeah.
And how do you make a living?
I guess in some ways I could see it twofold, where it could be stressful because it is all on you. But I also think, and this was not my situation at the University of Utah, we didn't have a huge program, and the 2 years that I was there, we weren't wildly successful. So a lot of several of the national championships, it was just me at the race. So I didn't have that total overwhelming like school spirit that I think a lot of people have in their experience. With that being said, I also didn't have to run like 3 events at a conference meet and 2 events at somewhere else just to get points. So it kind of gave me a little bit more, where I think a lot of times those athletes get a little used and abused just for the points,
Right.
Especially at conference meets. So I could see how then as a pro, you get to choose your races and you're not trying to get points just because, so you can be a little bit smarter about it. So I think in that sense it would be nice, but it is kind of stressful when it's kind of your job and your livelihood, and that adds like a whole other aspect to what doing well in a race means. It's like also paying the bills, which can be stressful at times. Yeah.
We have athletes on the show regularly who are full-on sponsored professional athletes. They either run for they run for the brand, or sometimes they run for an elite team. But I can only imagine the stress that comes with that job. We talk about it on the show from time to time, the pressure that they'll feel. Did you feel like, I know that NAS Elite, the Northern Arizona team, is a renowned team. They're extremely talented. How was that for you? Was it really difficult with the mileages each week or the workouts, or was there a certain level of pride? Like, how did that all work?
I think the pride, and then I came from a really low mileage, because so at that point when I graduated college, I'd only been running or a runner for 4 years. So I was still at a really beginner, like training age, I guess you would call it. So then moving into NAZ Elite, they're really volume and strength focused, and that's what I wanted, which is why I went there, because those are the workouts I like. But the volume, I think there were some maybe just miscommunications in like what I can do and what I should be doing. I think there's kind of a difference there. Like, yes, I can do that much, but should I be? Because is that sustainable for long-term growth? And I think that we kind of realized it was not. I kind of made that decision. I kept getting injured, and I was like, this is not, I was never injured in college. So I wouldn't consider myself injury prone. So that was kind of my like red flag. I was like, something wrong is going on here. And I think going from like 60 miles in college a week to trying to get to 85 consistently within like a matter of months was not sustainable growth for me. So I think that was our biggest kind of roadblock or red flag that I encountered.
I think you've been very open in talking about this too. I mean, you've posted lots of different posts and have talked openly about that sort of transition in mileages and stuff. And I think what's really unique about the time that we're living in, specifically like now in the last like 6 months even, is that we're seeing athletes be much more open with what they need or what they want, when a lot of the times it has again, this is coming from someone who has never been a professional athlete and I'm really still trying hard. I think I've got maybe 6 months left of my I think I can do it by the summer.
Keep going.
It's really great to see so many step forward and talk about what they need, what their bodies need. And did you find the environment that you were in allowed for you to be open in that conversation? Did you feel like you could be openly like, this isn't working for me, I need to find something else?
Yeah, I was pretty open, I think, with Coach Ben, and we did have several conversations. I was open to it with him too when I joined the team, and I was pretty upfront with my mileage coming out of college. And I was like, look, I really enjoy these longer distance events, but I was able to be successful at them at a pretty low mileage compared to a lot of other collegiate and newly pro athletes. And I think I want to keep it that way, or at least like not jump up if I don't have to, and just kind of ride the wave of the learning curve. And I think that was taken, but also we were his first batch of women, particularly women, right out of college. And I don't know that he was able to translate what the 35-year-old women are doing to what 22-year-old women should be doing. And that discrepancy in age and training and just experience level. And I think that was kind of where we got like kind of lost in everything, because there's a big difference.
It seems like, I guess, how difficult was it then after that? Because you've obviously put up some pretty incredible results just towards the end of 2019 even. What has your journey been like in the last, 8 months or so, like transitioning into this new Grayson?
So I left NAZ in June, and the mileage, it dropped a little bit. I was at around 70, which was a lot more sustainable for me for volume wise. And then I started getting into trail stuff, and we didn't change too much. I was working with Cameron Ulmer from Idaho Distance Project for my coach, and the idea was never to be one trail athlete or one road athlete, is kind of to leave it open so that I could do both kind of whenever nature called or whenever a cool race came up. So we didn't really change much with my workouts, actually. Everything was pretty still road and track based. I still do all road and track workouts. And I guess we backed off on the intensity. I think that's just a difference, I guess, in training philosophies between Cameron and Coach Ben. Coach Ben is pretty intense and like you hit it hard and it's like a grind. And I think Cameron has a more long-term, like not every workout should be crushing you kind of idea.
Sure.
You should have some workouts that feel like, wow, that was easy, or confidence builders. And that wasn't necessarily, I would say, the case with NAZ Elite. So I think there's just different coaching styles and philosophies. So we were on a more toned down version. And it was actually closer to what I did in college, which I think I responded to really well because
more used to it, yeah.
Yeah, I had already been doing it and I was comfortable with it. And it's nicer when you have workouts where you're like, I think I can do that, instead of workouts where you're like, I don't know, like I'm not going to make it through that. That's impossible. So I think that was a big difference too, especially training alone. They needed to be easier because I didn't have 7 teammates to pull me through really grueling intervals. I needed to be able to hit them on my own and feel like I could do it alone. So that was a big change too.
I, of course, realize that we are live. We have a wonderful live audience tonight. Kim has pulled a number of questions aside. If you have questions for Grayson, don't hesitate to ask them in the chat room. Kim will pull them aside. What you got?
Let's see here. Jean in the chat room asked, Grayson, what does it feel like running for a company like Saucony? And what is your favorite shoe model?
Saucony's amazing. I can just say that. I have so many good things to say about them, and I just beam when I talk about them. So it feels amazing and really grateful that they're willing to support kind of an unorthodox athlete in some ways. And my favorite shoe right now, the Mad River probably. It's one of their newer trail shoes, and it's been really good in the snow, which with the 15 inches outside is key. Yeah.
Yeah, slipping on a racing flat 8.5 or something like that going on.
I'm gonna do
think
it.
people would look at you like, why are you doing this to yourself? You want to do another live question? Or you want to move on and we'll get back to some of these? Because I realize we do have some of these that might tie into some later conversation. I do want to talk about these results that you in the last couple of months have just been chalking up. It's pretty exciting because obviously trail running specific channel, like we definitely geared towards trail running and ultra distances and stuff. And so when we started seeing these results, it's like, oh damn, like she's going to make a splash in the trail running scene like real quick. So the mountain world champs in Argentina looked amazing because we know a lot of the athletes that traveled down there to race as well. Joe Gray is incredible. What was that experience like for you racing so far from home for the US up against some of the best?
Yeah, so I will never forget that whole entire trip. It was the farthest I've ever been from home for sure. And only my second US team in a much bigger, so the first one was NACAC cross country championships in last spring. And it's only the North American, Caribbean, Atlantic countries. So to have like the whole world of countries there was pretty mind blowing. There are 72 countries represented, I think, at the race. So that was pretty crazy. And I didn't know what to expect at all. I was asking people, and Joe, he's been really helpful. I ask him a lot of questions all the time because I have no idea what's going on. And I was like, what do I expect? Like, what are these women going to do? Do I go with them? Like,
what's
where
the
should
strategy?
I kind of expect to be? Like, should I be in last? Should I be in first? I don't know how the American results would compare against a whole world. So he was really helpful and kind of like, you should be towards the front. And the European women, I guess, are really known for their downhill running. So I was told to kind of expect them to just send it and bomb down all the hills, which I didn't get to see actually. So I'm looking forward to seeing that soon. Yeah, no one passed me, but I'm sure I will find out very soon what they are capable of.
It's really cool to sort of see these results. And then I was reading some interviews that you had done after the race and stuff, and you were apparently sick that trip too. Like there was a lot of just stuff basically keeping you from maybe even showing up the race morning, but you did, like despite all of it.
Yeah. So we actually had to hitchhike to the race because the official vans that are supposed to pick up Team USA from our little cabin that was a little ways out of town never showed up. So there were 8 of us, I think. It's all the short distance team and men and women, and it was pouring rain. So I had to hitch us a ride in this poor guy's truck. We fit 8 of us in the cab of his truck, and then all of our luggage was in the back in the rain. And we finally get to the race, and then I couldn't eat, couldn't keep anything down. The last text I sent to my boyfriend was, I think I'm going to try and start, but I don't think I'll be able to finish. And he was like, okay, just get to the line and at least start it, and we'll see what happens. So I was very surprised that I even made it to the end, much less won the whole thing. I was not expecting that.
I mean, what do you chalk it up to? Do you chalk it up to just determination, grit? Is there training or anything that you've been through that provided you with a similar experience? You're like, I know I can handle this. Let's just do it.
No, I have pondered this a lot actually, because it was a really weird experience. And I think I chalked it up to flow state almost. Because the whole time during the race, it never felt bad, and it never felt particularly gritty, which is why I think I was even still so surprised that I won, because I felt like, A, I should be feeling way worse because there's no food in my body, and B, if I'm not running very hard, I must not be running hard because I don't feel that bad, but no one's passing me, so what's going on? So it was a really confusing experience. So that's the only thing I could think to say. It'd be like, it just happened to be one of those days where like the stars align and you're capable of way more than you thought you were.
Did you leave that experience with a heightened sense of confidence, or because again, just seeing you perform like that at that stage, it's exciting as a spectator and as a fan of the sport to go like, oh, what's she going to do at the next one? Did you leave that race with that sense of confidence, or was it like a what the hell just happened sort of feeling?
Yeah, it was a what the hell just happened. For sure. It still kind of is. I don't know that I've totally processed it completely still. I'm like, I don't know what happened.
Did you so trail, let's talk a little bit about that, just sort of the relationship with trail running, because you've trained a lot on roads, you have a lot of road speed. What drew you to the trails in the first place, and what has led you into this path? Is this something you want to pursue?
Yeah, I think because I've always been, my whole family were really outdoorsy, and I grew up in Salt Lake too, so living here, that's kind of required to be a citizen of Salt Lake. So I think that I always felt more connected when I was in nature, and I realized when that was kind of taken away in Flagstaff, because we didn't have many opportunities to get on the trail or really explore nature or go on adventures, because it was very focused on the road and the track and not getting hurt. I realized how much I missed it, and that was kind of calling to come back to. And the culture of trail running too, I noticed, was different than the road, and it was something, I was more friends with people that were trail runners than people that were road runners. And I was like, that I think is something I should pay attention to. So I wanted to give it a try. So the first race I did was the Brighton Cirque Series here in Utah, and that was more of I'm just going to dip my toes in the water and we'll see. I didn't really have any plans after that, because I wanted to see if I liked it, what it was like. And so yeah, that was kind of I don't know, I'm not really committing to this yet, but we'll see if I like it. So.
And that race has like thousands of feet of gain. It's a pretty good toe dip, right? Like it's 6 miles with like 3,000 feet or something?
Yeah, I think really it's in the first 3 miles you climb 3,000 feet.
That's a good toe
dip. And then the rest is down.
That's a great toe dip.
I didn't
a lot
know,
like Tiger Claw.
If I had known what I was getting myself into beforehand, I may not have done it.
My first trail race was
at that one.
Say again?
Joe was at that one too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Joe's just,
he's everywhere.
He's everywhere. He's knocking out course records left and right.
Yeah.
Great video from Hoka actually was just dropped today on Joe.
Oh yeah.
But I remember my first trail race was Mountain Baldy. Was it Run to the Top?
Yes.
Which one I had never run at altitude. It starts at 6,000, goes to 10,400 or something. It's like a 6 mile, has 3,000 or 4,000 feet of gain. And I kind of went into it the same way, where what do these numbers mean? I'm just going to go for it. No big deal.
You started doing research the night before, and then that's when the panic sweats happened.
It was at 11 p.m. I went, oh no. Oh, no. Yeah, it was one of those types of experiences. But you ended up winning that race.
I got second at that race.
That's second.
Yeah.
Because I won Baldy. I won first place.
Ethan Newberry.
First Ethan Newberry. I want to remind everyone we are live with Grayson Murphy. Kim's pulled a couple of questions aside. Let's get to some.
Yeah, Deb has a question. Deb says, Grayson, what were your biggest challenges transitioning into trails?
Ooh, I think learning that 8 miles on the trail is not equivalent to 8 miles on the road. And I need to take that into account, because it might take an hour and a half to run 8 miles on the trail, especially if it's really technical, where 8 miles on the road will take less than an hour and is an easy run. So learning that my previous pace and mileage kind of ideas had to be reconstructed to match that the trail is just a whole other beast. So now I have to kind of look at mileage, but also time on feet and how to put that into training and make sure I'm not overdoing it, because I think I already did last fall. So now I'm trying not to do it again.
Do you find a balance between the two? So are you running roads during training and trails in training?
Yeah, I would say actually I'm mostly roads during training. And then I'll run on trails 2 or 3 times a week, but the rest is on the road. Just because I think I do tend to hit the trails a little hard, and it's hard for me to slow down. So it becomes more of a workout than it should be. So I have to kind of limit the trail.
I feel like I have been excelling at slowing it down on trails lately. It's been feeling
Teach
great.
me
The slower
your
you go, the
ways.
more snacks you get.
I do want to start talking about just your openness in dealing with anxiety, generalized anxiety, and stuff like that, because we have been seeing it more in elites that have reach, and it's been wonderful. As someone who has dealt with my own share of it, I was really surprised to see you open up about it too. Was it difficult? Was it difficult to open up about it? Because I mean, when you deal with it, that's difficult, and then when you open up about it, that's also a different type. So, what was that decision to open up about it publicly, and was that difficult?
So I guess the decision to open up about it would probably be just because I felt like I did have a platform, and it kind of felt like a moral responsibility, or like my civic duty. Not everyone has this opportunity, so I should take it upon myself to at least say something. Because I think too, I was thinking if I was in, and I still am in awe of all these elite athletes, and when they come out with stuff too, I'm always like, oh, they have anxiety too. So I totally relate to it. So I figured, why not? One more person, just add their story. And parts of it have been hard. I think just being vulnerable, but not because it's been so well received. I don't know that I've had one negative comment to my face or personally, I guess, that has been negative, which is amazing. And so everyone should take notes. No one's going to bash you for doing it. But parts of it have been pretty easy because I think in general I'm a pretty open person to friends and family. So it just felt like telling another friend a story that I've told a lot of people already. It just happened to be like 50,000 other friends instead of like a person to person kind of thing. So that's been nice. And I think the in-person part has been, because I've told a lot of people in person and on NAZ Elite, I think there was some, maybe that might have been one of the harder challenges, was I had like panic attacks, and one of them was at a practice training session. And so it was kind of, instead of telling someone, they were face to face with the actual thing. And a lot of them were like, whoa, like, I don't know what this is. So that was difficult, was the actual, like when it happens, as opposed to just telling someone I have panic attacks and anxiety. Now we're having one and I think I'm dying. What do you do? Quick. So yeah, there are ups and downs, but I think overall it's been a very positive experience to share and to open that up to people.
I know I was really nervous early on. I was open about it years ago, but it was more cryptic. It was more me putting things in films and stuff that I made in a way that people who knew would catch on to it, but maybe those who didn't wouldn't. And that's more me protecting myself. And I remember having that conversation. Well, Kim's known me longer than anyone other than my immediate family. And so she's known I've dealt with this. But I remember having those conversations of, what are people going to think of this part about me? And is it going to change their perception? Did you ever have those thoughts, or did you have conversations with other people with those worries?
I don't know that I actually did. I think because I thought to myself, what would I think of someone if they what would I think of them? And I would think they have anxiety, and they're still Ethan, or they're still Kim with anxiety. And that's it. Like, okay, next. Thank you, next. I don't know that I was super concerned, which is surprising because I actually get hung up on what do people think about me a lot. But for some reason with that, I didn't really care, or I couldn't think of a bad enough thing that they could think of me that would not want me to post it or make me not want to. Yeah.
I know that it took me a long time. That's a very mature way of looking at it, because it took me a long time to get to that point of like not caring. And it is awesome that you are there, because that was my biggest hurdle, was just getting over that. It doesn't matter what, if I put this message out there, it's because it's me wanting to share this part of me that I've had kind of secret, and by putting it out there, it's not a secret anymore. But also people who are also dealing with it may look at that and go, oh, hey, I can either relate to him, or people can relate more to me. So when I do say I'm about to have a panic attack, people around me are like, I get it. I've had them too. I know what it is. So I appreciate you having that sort of like, I don't care what people think kind of outlook, because more people need to have that. Because if people think negative things about these types of things, it's like, they don't matter. Like, that opinion doesn't matter, We, again, have some live questions. Kim's pulled some of these aside here.
Cool.
Go for it, Kim.
Yeah, a question from Joel. Joel says, how do you deal with stress and anxiety before or during a race?
That's a good question, and one that I'm still working on, I think, to be quite honest with you. I think first, and this kind of went back to why I left NAZ Elite 2, I needed to be in a mental headspace before the race that wasn't like a high level anxiety, so that when the race came, I wasn't going from like a 10 to a 15. I was going from a 3 to an 8 maybe. Because I think races, you should have anxiety a little bit about them. That's part of what makes you run, and the adrenaline. And you should be excited and a little nervous. If you're not, maybe you should find a different sport you like better. So I think it goes back to finding or creating a situation or environment outside of the race, so in your everyday life, that makes you happy and comfortable. So then you can step to the race line with confidence and at least somewhat of a feeling of control on your anxiety. So that'd be my first recommendation, is figure out why you like running and what makes you happy and kind of thrive, and get those two first before you step on a start line. And then in races, I don't generally get nervous in a race, but I think positive self-talk has been really helpful for me. So just saying like, just get to the next hill, or just get to the top of this climb, and then you get this. I kind of bargain with myself, I find a lot. So I'm like, just do one more mile at this pace and you can slow down. But then you get to the next mile and you're like, one more, and then you can slow down. And you just keep tricking yourself till you're at the end and you've run the miles all you wanted the whole time. So that's been helpful for me, is bargaining.
I feel like I do that a lot. I think I vocalized that bargain with Kim. If I'm going through something crazy, or my headspace is in a bad place in the middle of a run or something, usually you and I bargain. You're like, well, let's just hang out let's just do this for the next 2 miles at this pace. And I'll be like, I want to go back to the car. You're like, no, let's just keep like 2 more miles. And it turns into 6 or 8 more miles. It's like, okay, I got the workout done. Before you know it, you're done. Have you found specific triggers? Like, are there things was it pre-race that was causing it? Was it the anticipation of competition? Were there certain things that you found yourself falling into that rabbit hole, and sort of how have you been able to balance that out?
Yeah, I think I fall into the rabbit hole of the anticipation and living the race before it actually happens, like over and over in my head. So then by the time I get to the line, in my head, I've run the race like 20,000 times already. And I think what's been helpful is trying to downplay races. So it's not the world championship. It's just another race, or it's just like a fun time in Argentina with my pals. Or it's just like these river crossings I get to run through, and that's like a new and exciting thing. So I think with trail running, it's been helpful to focus on pieces of the race that are new and exciting to me, like a big river crossing in a flash flood. Like that's cool, and that's not like really race related. So if I think of it as like I get to go run through a river, that kind of helps me downplay what it actually is, so I don't put as much pressure on myself to perform.
I like that. I think that's good feedback, and hopefully the flooded river wasn't too bad. Was this in the World Championships?
Yeah, so it was like I said, the downpour the morning of the race, and there were 2 river crossings, and we had run the course before, and they weren't really rivers. I would call them like creeks or streams. You definitely got wet, and you were gonna get wet, but it wasn't crazy. But then when it was downpour and it was kind of flash flooding, we were like, oh no. And so when we got there, there's a video too, someone should find it on YouTube, the boys race. Like 6 of them hit this really deep section, and they all, one after another, face plant into the water, because it was above my knees, the lower one. And then the upper one, there was a bridge, but it was almost cresting. It was a bridge. It was like 2 logs strapped together with twigs across. It was almost like cresting the bridge. And so they had people with a tow line. So if you fell off, you could grab it, and they were kind of guiding you across. So that was really fun, I thought. And so I just kept telling myself, don't worry about it. You just get to run through water soon. So
that does sound fun. It also sounds terrifying.
I was like, that sounds like a nightmare for you to be thinking about.
Yeah. I'm putting quotes on the word fun.
It's type 2.
As someone type 2 fun. As someone who can't swim, I'm like, how high was the water? Okay, I can get through it. I could totally survive that. There's videos of, remember when we went up to Squamish, BC, and there was like a river that we had to ford. I go back and watch that video, and I'm like, why did we do that? That was clearly a bad decision. Yeah, the fact that I had to use the word ford a river means that is not one that we should have passed over. I'm really curious as to what's next. So, actually, before we get to that, have you had positive experiences now being so open with anxiety and have talked about it openly, and it's kind of part of your story? What's been sort of the best thing that's come as a result of being open about it?
Honestly, probably just the people that reach out and say, I can relate, or thank you so much for sharing this. It gave me the confidence to tell my family about it, or to go see someone about it, or to take medication for it. That's been really cool that it's having an impact on individual lives. It makes me feel good too. And then I think it helps everyone feel a little bit better.
I know that talking about it has helped a lot. One, to just talk about it. It's one thing to talk about it to your spouse or to your family, but it's another thing that sort of, this is a part of me. This has been in my DNA for as long as I can remember. Now people know it's part of my DNA, and it's been great. Like, it has been really helpful, both therapeutic for myself, but also for others. I can only imagine it's the same for you with the platform that you have. I am really just curious what's next. So we know that you are fully capable of running some incredible mountain races, competing at a high level with members of the sport across the world. Are you looking at big sights, big goals for 2020? Are you taking it as it comes, or do you have races picked out? What's Grayson Murphy's 2020 looking like?
Yeah, so I guess I'll start with my goals. They're pretty vague, and it's kind of on purpose, because last fall I did not start trail running with the goal of winning a world championship. So I figured if that worked, not having that goal, I'm going to keep them pretty vague. So the goal this year is to challenge myself in new ways, and travel more, which means I'll be in Europe for most of my mountain races.
Cool.
So the first 2 will be this May. It'll be Trofeo Nisego. I hope I said that right. In Italy, and then Zagama in Spain, which is one of the first, it might be the first Golden Trail Series race.
Yeah.
And then, so to complete the Golden Trail Series, you need 3 results. So I'm going to do, hopefully, Zagama, Pikes Peak, and Sierra Zinal. And then also, while I'm doing Sierra Zinal the week before in August, I'll do Theon Dixon's, also in Switzerland, in the same place. And I'm doing one road race in the end of April, the Silo Half, which benefits the Brave Like Gabe Foundation.
I have my shirt
So that's
on
really
Yeah.
cool.
now.
Aw. So everyone should do it. Shout out. I don't know how the proceeds work, but I do know a chunk of it goes to the foundation. And you get to meet Chip Gaines, I think. So you should do
Hopefully we're
it.
talking
Everyone
with
should do
Justin.
it.
Yeah, Grinwell. We're talking with him, and hopefully we can make it down there for that. But we love their organization. We had Justin
Yeah.
on the show not too many weeks ago, and he's such a wonderful human. That's great.
Oh,
That's cool.
I'm stoked about that race. Yeah, that's going to be super fun. So yeah, that'll be kind of my race plan. And then we'll kind of see from there. So I won't be doing the short distance. I won't be able to defend my national title for the mountain course, but I think I'll try and get on the long distance world team so I can go to Spain for Worlds this year. Or if Golden Trail Series works out and I'm kind of in that top 10, I might look at doing the finale for that instead. So that'll be kind of as we go. We'll see what happens.
I mean, that's really exciting because you're dropping names of some really intense trail races we've talked about on the show
Yeah.
many times. I mean, just Zagama alone, the competition is fierce. It's a truly global stage.
Yes.
Pikes Peak, like this is going to be some pretty fun stuff that you're getting into this year. I can only imagine the anticipation of all the events that you're ready for. What does your training schedule look like? Are you taking any downtime, any vacations while you're traveling? Because these are some pretty big races.
I know, yeah. So I actually took 2 weeks off after Xterra and Worlds and started to get back into training end of December, early January, and then kind of hit a roadblock where I felt like I just needed another little while because I just wasn't recovering like I thought I was, and still pretty burnt out from a long season last year. So I kind of, we're resetting now. I'm restarting again this week. So I'll be building until the Silo Half at the end of April. And then no like real vacations, but I think with those big European races that I've talked with my coaches, when they're a week apart, it'll definitely be like a few days of no running in between them to recover and very easy. So those chunks will be like huge 2-week chunks of pretty easy running, except for the 2 races. So we're going to try and make it sustainable. Yeah, we're going to try.
I mean, it's going to be exciting to follow because these races, they're right in like April, May. So it's kind of early season. You'll have time to recover before the summer ones. And that'll be fantastic. We're going to wrap up our main show here with Grayson Murphy. We are going to move into our after show and ask some of those remaining questions. But of course, we have the Quickie question quiz to get to, crew member of the week. And let's get to maybe one more live question while we have Grayson here.
Great question from Jessie in the chat room. Jessie says, in a time where light is being shed on the unhealthy treatment of elite female runners, what would you say Saucony does right for you that other sponsors should emulate?
I think that they do a good job of emphasizing like women in trail running, and they just came out with a new campaign called Dirt Power, if you haven't heard of it, but it's really about like women in trail running and how is that different? What does that look like compared to a man on the trail? And what might a woman face on the trail that isn't a concern to a man? And that's huge. And I think a lot of women are looking for, I get a lot of questions too about like, how can I be safe as a woman on the trail? Which I don't think that a lot of guys probably get that question. So I think Saucony does a good job of being aware that there are differences, especially in trail running, and kind of shedding light on it. And then hoping this year they're going to come out with some like trail running panels that I think will hopefully be a part of that are women focused, and will kind of go, the idea eventually I think is that it'll be like a traveling women's trail panel. We'll go around the country and do clinics and try and help women learn, give them the resources to get into trail running on their own and not be scared of it or feel incompetent. So I think that's really cool. I haven't seen a lot of brands do that.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, keep
Yeah.
us posted if and when that happens so we can
Yeah, will
alert
do.
our viewers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Wonderful chat with you, Grayson. We really appreciate you joining us
Thank
on the
you.
show. We do have a couple of things that we like to do with first-time guests. First is the Quickie question quiz. You are
Okay.
not familiar with what that is. It is very easy. Basically,
Okay.
we have a rapid-fire series of questions. I don't know how many there are.
There's a few.
There's a few, but they're very quick. You just answer with the first thing that comes to your mind, and then we'll
Okay.
move on to the next one. So let me know when
This
you're
will
ready
be
with the
fun.
thumbs up, and
Okay.
we'll just get into it. Here we go. What was your very first race?
Stanford. Well, oh God. I'm saying the first cross country race in college I ever did. It was at the Presidio in San Francisco.
Good location. That must be
Yeah.
cool. Favorite place to run currently?
The Cottonwood Canyons in Utah. Both of
Road
them.
or trails?
Trail right now.
Bucket list race?
Western States.
Oh, cool. That was going to come up in our post show. I couldn't wait to ask about ultras and stuff like that in the after show. Favorite running movie?
I don't know if I've seen it. I liked what was the one that came out? Disney put it out a couple years ago about the team. It was
California.
a team in Southern California,
Oh,
and they got really good. And then
dang it, what is it called? Dang it, we've had that as an answer before, and I always forget it. I know the one you're talking about. Has great cast, great movie.
That one was good. Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
Guilty pleasure TV show.
The Bachelor.
I love how people always respond with The Bachelor because it's usually kind of like that.
The Bachelor. Yeah, the secret.
Yeah.
Who is your inspiration?
Oh, that's a loaded question. I think women pioneers in trail running who did it when no one else was doing it.
Awesome.
And that's still a thing. I think the women who are like beating men today, like Camille, Aaron, and all those women are amazing.
Favorite pre-race meal?
Oatmeal with peanut butter.
First thing you grab after a race to eat?
I'm usually throwing up.
That sounds like me.
Yeah. Once I'm past that, something salty, potato chips maybe.
Good choice. And finally, what are your current running kicks?
Kicks like shoes?
Yep.
The Mad River. It's a pretty good one. Peregrine too. I like that.
Just started running in the Peregrine. They're on my review cycle right now. I actually enjoyed the most recent version.
Yeah.
Stepping it up.
I haven't tried that one yet. Okay.
It's pretty good.
I'm in for it.
Good.
Okay, good.
It's been holding up
Can't
well in the
wait.
sloppy Pacific Northwest right now.
Ooh, okay.
You passed. Congratulations,
Yay.
Grayson.
Thank you.
So we're going to move into our after show with Grayson Murphy. Going to ask those remaining questions that didn't get asked during the main show, plus any additional questions. If you would like to join us for our after show, it's very easy. Just go to patreon.com/thegingerrunner. But before we do, we have a couple things. Grayson, where can people find you on social media? Where can they find out what you're up to next, and the best place to get in touch or to follow?
Yes. Twitter and Instagram at Racin_Grayson, and my website is Racin-Grayson. So tried to keep it easy, and it rhymes.
Love it.
Rolls
Congratulations
off the tongue.
again on your incredible performances at the end of 2019. We can't
Thank
wait to
you.
see what's up for 2020. Going to be following along closely. It's going to be fun. We're going to move right into the after show with Grayson for all of our Patreon supporters. We appreciate all of you. But before we do, we like to recognize members of this community for going above and beyond and doing awesome things week after week. It is our GR crew member of the week. Kim has already pulled aside this week's GR crew member. Kim, who is it?
That was full of suspense.
Because I realized the
Lots of
graphic has
dramatic
to
pausing.
go away.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So this one I thought was really neat. This is why I chose it this week. So this week's GR crew member of the week is Marie Claude.
Hey.
And Marie posted that she ran up 33 flights of stairs and went through 47 doors running a 5K in the Montreal Underground Network.
What?
I thought that
Whoa.
was really neat.
33 flights of stairs, 47 doors, running a 5K in Montreal underground. That's cool.
I thought it was pretty cool.
Tiger Claws changed this year.
Yeah,
We're changing Tiger. It's all
in underground
It's in the
tunnels.
that's amazing. Congratulations, Marie Claude, on being our GR Crew Member of the Week. That sounded like I want to find out more information on that. An underground 5K sounds crazy.
Somebody says it sounds like a reenactment of my recurring dream.
It could be terrifying if you don't like tight spaces or being underground.
Yeah.
A nightmare or fun. Depends.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into Ginger Runner Live, episode number 293. On Thursday, February 6th at 8 a.m., registration opens to the public for Tiger Claw. It is our second running of Tiger Claw.
I did wear my Tiger Claw shirt, but then it was too cold, so I had to wear it. I brought a shirt for every conversation.
Every conversation we have today. We're so excited about this year's running of it. The course is a little bit longer, a little bit more elevation gain. We're about 25 miles with 8,600 feet of gain. It's a choose your own adventure style, which is really cool and unique. If you want to find out information, go to runtigerclaw.com. It sold out in 2 weeks last year. We expect it to sell out. I don't want to jinx anything, but we expect it to be pretty quick. So register on Thursday at 8 a.m. If that at all interests you. We would love to have you out in the Issaquah Alps.
We have word that some of our top place finishers may be returning.
We have some podium finishers who are coming back for not even redemption. They just want to prove that they can stay at the top. Cash prizes, all sorts of bonuses. Sufferfest is going to be there. Rabbit shirts. We're doing rabbit shirts for all of the runners. It's some pretty awesome swag.
We are excited.
We are very excited. So go to the website, runtigerclaw.com. That is our plug. We'll see all of you in the after show if you're a Patreon subscriber. Otherwise, we'll see you next Monday for our 6th year anniversary. Yay. Thank you, everyone. Get out there, train hard, race harder, and part of the hardest. See you next week. Bye.